Welcome in to Come Get Some. I'm your host, Blake Williams, joined here with Mr. Come Get Some himself, Gregg Williams, and Chuck Booms, our man in studio right here. And it was another heartbreaker at home here in Cleveland. I think we were all talking about it this weekend, and it's hopefully we get some things turned around right now, but it's like a mirror image, right, or a mirror flip of last year, where we were last year literally historically dominant at home. The Cleveland Browns were, but then they weren't very good. They were like 31st on the road. And this year it's like flip-flop, just very poor at home and okay, good on the road and whatnot. What were your main takeaways, Chuck, from the game this weekend?
As much as we sat here after the Cowboy game, you guys, and said, wow, I remember I said to both of you, what the hell have they been doing since February, right? If that's going to be the product on opening day, this was worse. This was absolutely worse. There's so much to get into. I thought of both of you guys, being coaches and stuff, as I'm watching it. And at some point, it's funny how anger, which I had a lot of, kind of turns into humor. And then you find yourself, since they're not going to fix what's going on in the game, coach, and they're not going to do this, Blake, and they're not going to do that, then I start going, well, I want to see the Giants just take them apart now. And I wonder what you guys thought of that, because that's how pissed I was. I was like, all right, well, now let's get our rear ends kicked and let's see what happens.
Well, GDubb and I were up at the grotto at the Barley House watching the game, which was by he was just you're a lot of just actually relatively quiet until the second half, and then you started getting animated. The first half you were just kind of like,
I was trying to control myself so I didn't run everybody else out of the play.
After every single play, I would just look over at you and you were doing woo-saw. But by far and away, the grotto and the Barley House and the whole crowd there was the best part of the Sunday game. But what was kind of going through your mind in some of the conversations? And I know you were over there texting away with Jonathan Vilma, who was the captain of our Super Bowl team, and we both coached, and who was covering,
and he was covering the team.
He was doing the color
commentating.
The
commentating on TV. He was doing the TV commentating.
So GDubb was texting back and forth with him all game long, and he was saying the same things we were seeing. But what were your kind of main takeaways?
The biggest thing was I just shook my head, and we were down at the tailgate before we went over there, and a lot of people thought I was a nutbag when I said, I know. But I'm okay being that way. Understand?
We know.
Understand that they had to do a better job of controlling the timing, the foot placement, the depth of the drop of what Deshaun normally does, and then, hey, what will happen when New York says, the Giants say, hey, we can't continue to do what we've been doing, and Brian DeBall did a very good job with what they were doing on defensively, on the coordinator part of it, and they brought the house. How many times did they play cover zero? And listen to me, the beer sellers, the ladies up in the top row of the stadium were hollering, it's blitz, it's blitz, it's blitz, and we couldn't see it. Are you kidding me?
Hey, to prove to you that he's right, that they were bringing everybody, by midway through the second quarter, I looked up and I go, I'll be a son of a... That's Lawrence Taylor. Now he's coming over. They brought everybody. They called up Harry Carson.
Oh man, it was not a good one. But hey, we're looking forward to getting into more and hearing about some of that anger, Chuck, and getting some of that anger out of you, and hearing about more of your takes, GDubb, on the quarterback play, being a former quarterback, and some of the things that we talked about on defense. Hey, stick right with us, because when we get back, we're going to get into our Browns breakdown. Welcome back in to Come Get Some, and this is our Browns breakdown. And when we talked about, the previous game against Jacksonville, we said it was almost the tale of two halves, right? Where they were so dominant, it looked like they were going to run away with the Jaguars game, and then ended up being closer than it should have been. Yeah. This game was the tale of like two drives, right? 11 seconds in, they're up 7-0, right? Opening kickoff, ball out, very first offensive snap. over the top to
Yep.
Amari Cooper, a beautifully placed ball. Amari actually caught it. You know, all of these things, and we're like, uh-oh, hey, this is gonna be a fun one. This is gonna be the day, and then a total unraveling from that point.
Their box scores look similar every week. There's the big 7 for the first quarter, then donut, and then some garbage time thing that didn't matter. And I also want to say, let's not forget, they lost by 2 scores. That guy sat on the 1-yard line.
No doubt.
He could have crawled in like a baby across the linoleum.
We call that first down, down, down. And I changed that here at the Cleveland Browns when I became the head coach with Ndoju, is that because he caught a ball and didn't get down, down, and we had some down, down discussions in the team meeting the other day on kicking him in the nuts if he didn't go down, 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 down the next time. And it became a great thing. And I love that Brian DeBall had done a very good job with that. That was a great play by that young man.
Yeah. No doubt.
And
No
it
doubt.
also is kind of, don't you love there is, I know you two do. Every time I think of you two and I think of how the swag that the Saints played with, there's also part of that where you're looking over going, you know, he's only an inch from going in again, and I'm running that score up on you stiffs. But it's like General Patton going, I could take this army now and go right to Moscow, but maybe I won't. You know, it's
No doubt. And since we took it there, I mean, that is football, and that was what our talk was on back in 2018 on the Njoku versus it was against Cincinnati.
Yep, against
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
It was at home. The second time we beat Cincinnati in that time, where Hugh had gone there and we played them in twice in a month or whatever. But it was here, caught a slant, you know, and out the gate, and it was the game over sort of thing. But if he had just gone down, we would have kneeled the clock out.
And nobody else has a chance to get hurt.
Nobody else has a chance to get hurt, and we control the controllables. Like, literally, they can't stop the clock.
Chubb
like,
did that.
the
Didn't
game's
he? On
over.
one against somebody, Chubb went
Yes,
down.
he did
Yep.
it.
He did. He
And
went
we
down
call
on
it
one.
first down, down,
Down,
down.
down.
And if we're on defense, it's takeaway, down, down. But you don't go score, run the score up, and nothing you can control. Okay, we don't care about that. It's about winning the game and keeping our guys ready to go win the next game.
And that's what it's about. But I'm interested to get more like on your Browns take, Booms. And so you've been through so much, like the old when the Ratbirds were still here, Browns, the new Browns. You know, old Municipal Stadium Browns, and this, like, what was your take? Because I mean, to me, it looks like regression.
Yes.
I would say this: after 3 weeks, and it's only been 3 weeks for everybody. I get it. It's been 3 weeks for the other teams we've played too. Those other 3 teams we've played through 3 weeks are not good teams.
Not.
They are 0-5 against the rest of the NFL, Dallas included. And we thought, watching the first game, oh, man, Dallas is just really good. Oh, no, maybe the Browns aren't as good right now as we thought they were coming into the year. Those other 3 teams are 0-5 against, you know, the rest of the league. They're 2-1 versus the Browns. And so what's your take on what you're seeing out there?
I think Watson is playing scared. You see the happy feet. You see a guy. The other thing, Coach, I remember the Saints and all that stuff. And one of the things I loved about Drew Brees, and I know you loved it, there was a joy that he played with. And the joy comes out of the passion.
Yes.
Right? Where
Yes.
they love playing. Tell me you guys don't look at Watson on the sideline or even as he walks up, you know,
It upsets me.
huddle. He
It
looks
upsets me.
like he doesn't want to be there. Deshaun, I have advice. It's free, which I know nothing with you is, but mine's free. You can just retire. They owe you the money.
No doubt.
I mean, if you are not having fun, believe me, the people that paid all that money at the stadium, that's who I care about. They're pissed, and they'd rather you just be on your way. If you're not enjoying this, the other guys on the team aren't enjoying it, the locker room isn't enjoying it, the fans aren't enjoying it, and I'm not enjoying it. So in honor of that, for you guys, as I was watching the game, I broke out my Tim Couch. There it is.
Yep.
I was wondering about
Tim
that.
Couch.
That
I
Timmy
love it.
gave me.
Yeah.
Timmy gave me because no matter how hard that kid got hit, you guys, he still played with joy. He still loved it.
Chris
and he was-
Palmer drafted him. He and I were on the same staff a long time ago down in the Houston Oilers.
and
He was the head coach.
They had a better team around
Yeah.
Tim. Peyton Manning said, you know, who would have been one of the great young quarterbacks of all time? Tim Couch, but he got stuck on an expansion team, and it's just a tough gig.
Yep.
But, I mean, again, you guys, the Watson thing, we've got to stop saying experiment. I notice we're not hearing rust anymore. So how about, Coach, if we get to conclusion time?
The big time,
Maybe he just can't play anymore.
The big time on the body language thing, it drives me bananas. You know, I have a PhD in body language and all that stuff, and nothing more irritates me to see over on the sideline in between series. That's when good coaches, good players make adjustments in the game to go out on the next series. But you can't do that when you have a towel over your head. You can't do that when you're not sitting around anybody else that's talking about what do you see, how do we do that. And as coaches, you have to go to these people and get them together, okay, and make the adjustment in game. It drives me bananas. I'm not seeing that on the sideline.
They're not doing it. And the proof of that, Josh McDaniel, there was not one time in all those championships that no matter what happened, that Brady's pissed or threw the helmet, 2 seconds later, he's sitting right next
there
to Tom Brady. Both of them have tablets, and they're doing work. And he's sitting there with a towel over his head.
Tom and I have talked about that, and Tom was talking a little bit about the Cowboy game yesterday. I was listening to him and sending him some messages during that game.
No
Blake,
doubt.
what do you see?
But you're talking about all these things, and when I hear what fans say. I have conversations with fans so much. And so I want to like clarify this. I know for a fact there are fans out there listening to this right now saying BS, disconnected, old farts, da-da-da, whatever. Like, we're talking about body language right now. We're talking about towels over the head, like Lamar Jackson does as well, too. Cam Newton does. You're talking about MVPs of the league that perform that way and that galvanize their teams, right, as well, too. When you're disassociated from the group and you're not, I'm not blaming everything on Watson and stuff like that. What we're talking about is when you're disassociated the group, it looks like morale is down. Nobody else is galvanizing anybody, right? And so we're not just knocking just Deshaun Watson. There's other people out there that need to lead by example, need to rally the troops, need to whatever. But it is hard when that person with the ball in their hand and that contract is doing it. It is hard, and it seems to be different standards for that person versus the other 52. The other 52 look around. I've seen it happen before, and they're just kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to kind of go about my business. Like, that stuff is real. And so the reason we're talking about it right now is because we've lived it. We've experienced it. Like, that stuff is real.
It's real.
Look what happened in Carolina this past week.
Oh,
We don't know if it's sustainable. All right. But look what happened with Andy Dalton. Look
Redhead Andy.
Hey, look what's happening in Minnesota right now. And J.J. McCarthy may end up being a Hall of Famer. But I feel in my heart that what's happening in Minnesota right now would not be happening if J.J. McCarthy was learning on the fly as a young rookie up there with it. Look what happened last year here with Flacco. Like, this stuff we're talking about.
That's the key.
No doubt.
This
That's
stuff we're
the
talking
key.
about is
It makes
real.
the
The
difference.
Flacco stuff is the key because you can't unsee great football.
You can't.
And I don't want to unsee it. And we watched it last year, and in 6 weeks, 7 weeks, the whole town was galvanized. The locker room was galvanized. Amari Cooper's talked about how special a player in and out of the locker room, on the field, 300 yards passing. The offense was clicking. Defense is feeding off it. The people know that worked.
No doubt.
And it makes no sense. We joked, Coach and I, Blake, but before the thing, he saw it too. You realize Joe Flacco sold more jerseys in 6 or 7 weeks than there have been Deshaun Watson jerseys
In
sold
3 years.
In 3 years.
Yep, no doubt about it. And you know what? The other thing, too, the people that can't understand what we're saying right now, that think it's BS, hey, I'll tell you to your face, okay? You can understand this, that people, grown men inside the white lines know when people aren't doing what they're supposed to do, okay? It's time, okay, to drop it. It's time to get after it. It's time to do your job and watch all of us win when you do your job and the ball starts with you.
Now we hit the nail on the head right there, and it's something that you've heard me say for years, GDubb, but I've always said, and Chuck just nailed it, is I've always said ignorance is bliss.
Yes.
We've all heard that, and the reverse is a curse. Like we can't unsee what we now know. Our eyes have been open when we saw what we saw with Flacco, and we see what we're seeing around the rest of the league. But speaking of that, we're going to come back and we're going to go around the NFL, and we're going to talk about some of these teams a la Green Bay, a la Pittsburgh, who are getting it done with a lot fewer pieces than what is up in Cleveland right now. And it's a what have you done for me lately league. So stick right with us. When we get back, we're going to go around the NFL. Welcome back in to Come Get Some, and this is our Around the NFL segment. And there's a lot of really good and football being played around the league right now. There's a lot of bad football being played around the league right now, and like
down the street,
next door,
it's right next door.
Yeah. And in a lot of surprises, as there always are. This is a talking point, though, I do want to hit, and I don't feel like this is talked about enough, right? We as coaches, and we as coaches that put everything on us, which a lot of coaches don't, right? Put everything on us. Hugh Freeze in Auburn, at Auburn, caught a lot of from his former player, his former quarterback Bo Wallace, who's an offensive coordinator in college now, was going after him, in the post-game press conference where he was throwing his quarterback under the bus.
Right.
And Bo Wallace is like, "You've been doing this for 2 decades. Like, how many quarterbacks, how many people are you going to be throwing under the bus?" But that's another story. But for coaches like us, we talk about this a lot. I don't think it's talked about enough, right? We focus on our fan bases, fans, color commentators. They want to talk about the noteworthy stuff or complain or make excuses. But Green Bay and Pittsburgh right now, Green Bay and Pittsburgh are 2 case examples right now of every other fan base out there that is complaining, but then making excuses, a la like even Cleveland, for what may be wrong right now. Need to go look at what LaFleur and those coaches are doing at Green Bay with Malik Willis and undrafted running backs and undrafted offensive linemen and late round pick wide receivers, and go look what Pittsburgh's doing with Justin Fields and that crew, and tell me that team, body language, togetherness, playing complementary football, and having phenomenal coaching and organizational health and game planning too. Who you have to line up and play this Sunday, regardless of what their contract says, regardless of whatever, matters in this league. And when
Matt LaFleur never cried once when Jordan Love went
Not one time.
Didn't say.
No.
It made it
No
like
complaints.
He's hurt. Got it. I got another guy. He's going in, and Blake just hit it on both of them. Both those guys, Tomlin and Matt LaFleur, both. We're going forward. Justin's playing right now. The other guy's ankle. How long is he going to play, Coach? As long as we're winning. Next question. LaFleur, same thing. Blah 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 blah. That is two well-run, oiled machines, and it starts with leadership.
No doubt about that. And the other thing, too, is the focus is on game by game, okay?
Yes.
They focus directly to the next game. They don't talk about the past. They don't talk about 4 weeks down the road. This is what this group of guys needs to win this next game.
Yes.
And they make the plans for that, but then quickly, they see success. They see mistakes, and they're correcting these things in the game, okay? And that's why they're able to win complementary games, okay, and close games. They're able to win those by how they manage the games. Both of those guys are doing it, and I love Malik Willis going back and having a game, and had a game where it just got cut by the Titans, and now here I come and I win.
And this is going to make Green Bay way more dangerous, right? Because proving to all that whole roster that we can do this sort of way without Jordan Love. And now and I'm not saying like Malik Willis doesn't belong, because he could throw, he's got the athleticism, everything, right? But he's not obviously like where Jordan Love is now, like at his career. Like, you bring Jordan Love back into that mix, and you still know that you can at any point in time, like, gash and pound people and like say, come get some, and that whole sort of thing. That's a dangerous team.
Willis is already saying, guys, exactly what you guys as coaches would teach. They asked Malik Willis. He said, "I'm here and I'm ready every week until Jordan comes back."
I know.
There's no that great coaches and all this. You notice we always have controversies with quarterbacks. They don't allow that crap at Green Bay. Mike Tomlin sure doesn't.
He's not going to allow it. No, and the thing what Blake just said was, when you're doing it now with the way that they're doing it, some of the other kind of entitled, maybe babied players their whole life, they're on the roster, they're going, uh-oh, I better listen. Okay, they are right. I don't know more than them. Hey, I got to just do my job. Yeah, do your job, and now get everybody inside the white lines doing their job. You can do your job and win games when you're all together.
Well, your guy Antonio Pierce,
Yeah.
ready? He said afterwards that it's boy, what a message. He said it's clear people are making business decisions out on the field that don't work and isn't the Raider way. And the other guy asked, well, what's that mean, Coach? He goes, that means I'm going to make some business decisions.
Yes, he is.
That means he's telling the players, I know who's going rogue. I know who's doing what we told you not to do. And if you think it's funny, come on into the office. You won't be here next week. And so if you think their hair isn't going to be on fire,
Blake,
Cleveland. Oh,
and I'll tell you this as well too, just from that. And I watched that live, and this even goes back to what I was talking about with Hugh Freeze earlier, and as well too. Like, it's a player-ran league. The NFL is a player-ran league, and it's a violent sport. It's a competitive sport. It's different than NBA, and it always will be. And thank God, that's the way. But like, that can't be pulled off by what Antonio Pierce said and did. It can't be pulled off unless you're Antonio Pierce.
Unless you're Antonio Pierce.
I couldn't go up there and do it because I didn't play in the league and do what Antonio Pierce did. Antonio Pierce is like, some of you that I'm talking to, I could literally walk in there and slap the shit out of you right now, right? 2 days still. Like, I'm a bad man that did it in this league at a big-time level and won 2 Super Bowls for South Compton, and now I made myself into the head coach of this team, and I know what I'm talking about, and the rest of your teammates know what you're talking about as well, too, and I'm not going to bless it, right? I'm not going to bless it. I go back to think about what Colin Powell always used to say.
Yeah,
right?
you know that. I had him speak too, yeah.
Which is every time I walk by and see a cracked wall or paint, chipped or something like that on an Army base or something like that, a piece of trash on the ground, and I walk past it that's there and I don't pick it up or get it addressed, I bless everybody else who's watching me, who's following me. I bless it for everybody else to be able to
won't
pick
it up.
Example first.
And
first.
And that's how you get in disrepair. And so Antonio Pierce is not joking.
And he heard me say that to him when he played for me.
Antonio Pierce is not joking.
No.
He can back that up. And oh, by the way, so Browns and Browns fans understand you're having to go out there and play in Vegas. That Antonio
you better get ready.
Antonio Pierce, and who else is on that staff? Tom Coughlin and Marvin Lewis. And the rest of that crew, they are lit, and they are going to be in those guys' butts this week. And so it is going to be a ball of razor blades out in Vegas.
What about Max Crosby?
And we think there's offensive line issues. We think there's offensive line issues. We have not seen, the Browns have not seen a defensive player with the ability, except in practice.
With Miles.
They haven't seen a player this season like Max Crosby. And so, we better get ready for some Thunderdome stuff out in Vegas.
I can tell you guys both, I was a big Johnny Carson fan growing up, but even I don't have to be Karnak the Magnificent to predict what's coming. You can see what's coming. We're downtrodden. Everybody's blaming, the line. Oh, no, woe is me. They're doing all that. Meanwhile, Antonio, and those messages he sent, those players that were the ones he was directing to.
No doubt.
They know it's them, and they know right now they're on the shortest leash possible. Fix it, or you're going to be gone.
No doubt. And Antonio had to go through that with me in the very first practice after I said that right now. Holy cow, come get some. Those practices right after I said it, well, it was the same thing when I took over here at the Cleveland Browns. Right? Hey, come get some on how we took over from the first 2 practices on, boom, 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 boom. And why did things change? Okay, I say what I mean what I say.
And that's what makes it happen in this league. We've talked about it. Is one way or another, like Andy Reid
Yeah.
who. Some people maybe not know out there, like Andy Reid's an intense dude behind
He
the
is.
scenes.
Behind
with
the
his team,
scenes,
Oh
but you're
my
not going to
gosh.
see it out there when he's doing his like interviews and his like cheeseburger
Hamburger
commercials
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff like that, right?
Yep.
But be it Tomlin, be it Belichick, be it Antonio Pierce, kind of doing his own thing out there. Now, whether it be Sean McVay, whether it be Pete Carroll when he was still doing it, all do it in a different way. But it's like this is the standard. And we are going to have accountability to that standard. And it's
Accountability.
going to be player led, but we're not going to bless it. We're going to handle it right there. We're not going to sweep it on the rug and hope it's okay the next week and kumbaya
Or
it
be a
off or
player's
whatever.
coach.
We're going
which
to
is
address
ridiculous.
it now, right now, before we get into this thing where we're constantly just chasing, medicating symptoms, right? And that's what the great teams do, and it's fun to see what Green Bay and Pittsburgh, like we talked about, are doing, and a lot of other teams need to take that example.
But every coach that I grew up watching was like that, and I know you feel the same way.
Same way.
Hank Stram, if he looked at you, he used to look at me
He grew
through
up
the
in, he
thing.
I
grew
grew
up
up
in Kansas
and
City as
go
a
to
little kid going to
practices.
practice.
my
as a little
Yeah.
kid.
I used to tell my mom, that guy's looking at me with
Oh,
a
yeah.
rolled up thing. He's angry. Tom Landry, Don Shula,
all those
none
guys, yeah.
of these guys put up with anything. They started this, it's a players league, but you notice Belichick, all the guys you're friends with that coach, you guys, there's a trophy. The successful ones are the ones that don't go away from what they know works.
Stick right with us, because when we get back, we're going to be joined by our great guest from down in New Orleans. Hey, welcome back in to Come Get Some, and we're joined down in New Orleans by probably the single player that we ever coached that most quickly took to come get some, and the mantra and the mentality and knowing like, oh yeah, I know exactly what this means, and I see the vision of what it means.
He
and
bought
like,
in
yeah,
immediately.
and that is Demario Davis. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm blessed. Great to be on with you guys.
That's awesome, man. Great to have you as well too. I
One
know
of my all-time favorites, and I'm telling you right now is that, again, just like I told you a while ago off stage here, is that I want to go back up in the Browns and start cleaning out when I was going to slap the piss out of everybody, when they made the move.
Yeah, man. It feels mutual, man, as far as having the opportunity to play with you guys, man. Man, truly, we didn't get a chance to get to a full season, but that off season was a highlight to remember. And I only imagine of the great things we would have been able to do if we would have been together.
And you're doing all that stuff down there right now, and that culture is what we established down there with Dennis Allen and all those guys. So already.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, from the same tree, man. And it's that mindset, and DA preaches it all the time. It's not what you play, but how you play, and it's that mindset and mentality that you have to bring to the game as a defensive player that really allows you to be disruptive and contend at being the best.
Well, speaking of mindset, and that's something that's like always just kind of impressed me about you. I'm gonna take you way back. I'm gonna take the viewers way back. Okay, so this is what I remember about this, right? So it's 2012. Somebody's getting suspended. One of us three, and I don't know which one it is up here, but somebody's getting suspended and out of here. And so I'm all
won the case.
Yeah. And so I'm all being the I'm the linebacker coach and now D coordinator at the Saints, and it's at the Rams, and it's a big linebacker class like coming out that year. We got the Luke Kuechly's, we got the Bobby Wagners, we got everybody, the Michael Kendrickses, the Demario Davises, the Levante Davids. And I remember like texting you and being like, hey, I know you guys are all doing your medical stuff and whatnot. Like I'm over at this train station. Like you want to come over here and like holler at me and like we'll go through some stuff like a little early. I'd really like to pick your brain. And I didn't want to be like fighting for time with you, everything. I loved everything I seen on film at Arkansas State, where one play you'd be playing on the ball Sam linebacker, the next play you'd be playing off the ball Mike, next play you'd be playing like a Will, you'd be dropping in coverage one snap and blitzing and running people over the next snap. And like that's what our multiple defense. And I wanted to talk to you about that, and just got into so much of like your leadership and your passion and your faith in like your preparation and everything. I was like, man, from that day on, I was like, I want to coach this dude. I want to be around this dude. And so talk a little bit about your mindset and your mentality and like where that comes from and how that's like progressed throughout your career.
Man, I really goes back to my offensive days when I played in high school. One of the things my dad used to tell me when I ran the ball was, you have to kind of play a mind game with the defender, meaning like the first few snaps, you have to try to run the. Hold on, my kids laugh.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah, man.
I know
6 kids. We got a house full
I
of
was gonna say, I know you have a full house now. Tell the viewers how many you have now.
6 kids, man. 6
Oh,
kids.
my God.
Our oldest, Bailey Grace, is 10. My son, he's getting ready to go to football practice. He just turned 9. Our next in line, Summer Joy, she's 8. And then we have a 5-year-old, Carly Faith, a soon-to-be 3-year-old in about 7 days. And then we have a 7-month-old.
I knew, and then you have a 7-month-old. So you got the full thing. I love every time I see y'all's family pictures.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
do
hey, it
too.
just keeps growing.
And
I'm like,
remember that chaos check that I taught you how to do, that when there's chaos, we have it checked, and you got to call it. So it sounds like you need to have a chaos check at home,
he
too.
checked Tokyo.
There it is. But so it started back then, and playing running back, it was like the first half try to run the guys over, and then the second half they'll kind of get out of your way. And I just never, I used to do that. And so when I switched to defense, first time in high school. I just kind of thought about like, man, as a running back, whoever it is got the ball, like
You bet.
I want to win that battle. If I hope a running back tries to run me over, and I hope he keeps coming. And when I went to defense, um, you know, anytime I would play like a good player, my mindset was the first time I get a chance to make contact, I want to inflict so much pain that he tries to avoid me the next snap.
Yep.
And I'm really hoping for that contested battle, like the guy runs through the hole and y'all go head up, boom, and he's like, okay, I felt that
Exactly.
contact and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna keep coming back. But till this day, 15, 16 years, 13 years in the NFL, I just haven't met that match.
Yep.
And that's really what my mindset is like I'm gonna dominate my opponent to the point that he doesn't want to go one-on-one with me anymore. And that's the mindset, like, and so as being a leader, it's about kind of being contagious with that mindset.
Yep.
Like my job is to win my one-on-one in such a way that the opponent doesn't want anymore. And that's how I play the game.
And that's how you show it, and that's how your teammates see it.
Every day.
Every single day. That's the way you are in meetings. That's the way you are in walkthroughs, everything. And that's the example that's set so that someone listens to you about being the leader, the great leader that you are.
And it's funny, Demario, because you spent your entire career at 3 of our places, right? But we haven't gotten a chance to spend enough time together for how much time we've spent together over the years. But between the Jets and in Cleveland and now the Saints, and so seeing like all these different organizations, like what in your opinion, and we've been down there, we know, and we've some of your coaches were either coached under us or played for us. Like I was, when we won the Super Bowl, I was coaching the offensive line, and Jari Evans was an All-Pro, like for me,
Yeah.
And I know Stinchcomb, who was, John Stinchcomb, who was there with you guys as well too. Stinch was, BY, all those guys.
Yeah, BY too.
So what makes New Orleans special? What makes that organization special down there?
Oh man, New Orleans is a special place, and I've been to like you said, a number of phenomenal places. Not take anything away from New York and Cleveland, but I absolutely love my time here in New Orleans. Number one, I think it's the culture and the atmosphere of the team and the city.
Yep.
This city loves football, and they love the Saints.
They do.
And it's not just a fandom; it's like a oneness. Like.
Yep.
The fans really watch the game. They're looking at it in detail. They're not just looking at the big plays. They know who the players that are like actually on the field making the plays and what all they're having to go into, like making those plays. Like they really watch the game in detail, and they're passionate about it. And so, like when you win a game, it's a win for the whole city. And when you
Yeah.
lose, it's hard on the whole city. And I think just that unison to have that level
No
of
doubt.
oneness and connection is rare. But it makes you want to go out and give your all for the city. And I think just the team is the team that allows you to play with the swagger. You know, it just allows you to be free, allows you to go out, and it's not just like going out being robots, but just go out and play and have fun and just let your swagger come out. And so it's like, I don't think you really can survive in New Orleans if you don't have a certain level of confidence and
Yeah.
swagger.
You can't.
You can't.
I agree.
And it's why we took to it so much
Oh, yeah.
immediately. And if you've never, fans, if you've never been in there, and this started during our time, this started after we won the Super Bowl, and Drew Brees had seen like kind of how some of the things that they do like at the Chiefs Stadium and whatnot. And he's like, we got to come up with our own thing. But if you haven't been in there, at after coin toss, when the captain or whoever the game captain is walking out there, and you can feel literally electricity coming off of the stands and it building, and then that hand drop and that whole place going freaking
Who
crunk.
dat?
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
like, and
Yes, sir.
and you can see like the opposing team's eyes get big, and
Yep.
our eyes, like I just like feel like I just did smelling salts, and I didn't even do smelling salts,
yeah.
right? Like it's a different energy about it, man.
No
And we were
doubt.
talking about that with Scott Shanley last week about the swag is definitely back in the in New Orleans, like across the state, my man.
Yeah, yeah, man. Just the past 2 years, we haven't really put out the brand of football that we had grown accustomed to. Like I've been here 7 years, and
Mm-hmm.
man, those first 3 years, 4 years that was an incredible ride. I mean, we were the most winningest team in
Mm-hmm.
the NFL in the regular season, and we were a contender for the championship every year. And so then we had a lot happen, with a Hall of Fame quarterback leaving, a Hall of Fame coach leaving, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's a major adjustment. And then you lose major pieces on the offensive line. Guys are aging and going to different teams. We had Marcus Williams, one of the premier safeties,
Mm-hmm.
go to another team. Von Bell, a top safety. You got CD Deuce. He goes to another team, and so guys who have been instrumental parts of our defense. We lose Mark Ingram.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a lot of pieces that are kind of going out, which is part of the league. And so it was just about adjusting and getting back to kind of who we're going to be and getting back to that level of winning. And I think they did a phenomenal job. And Dennis has done a great job in making sure that the defense stays intact. And we played good all throughout the years. But pushing us to just continue to hold that standard. I think he came in with a different mindset this year of getting back to how we play and pushing us in that, and just our practices in training camp all the way up to now, just crazy. And then they did a great job of bringing in Clint Kubiak, which that Shanahan coaching tree is unreal, just as far as what their offense is doing in today's game. And I think it's their ability to just keep adjusting, but keeping that
Mm-hmm.
foundation the same. And so Clint's been great. And I think, having a quarterback with as much knowledge and experience like Derek meshed with Clint Kubiak's offense and the weapons with the speed of Chris Olave and
Mm-hmm.
Rashid Shaheed, and you got Alvin Kamara at running back. And then the dynamicness of Taysom Hill, it just put us in a position to really shock a lot of people. And I think that's kind of how we came out of nowhere. And, now the main thing is just continue to play good football and stay healthy.
Hey, that's the main thing, man, and we're proud of you. We're excited watching you guys up there, down there, man. Heal up. Good luck this upcoming week, and we really appreciate you joining us on the Come Get Some show. Keep playing that Come Get Some football down there, brother.
Hey, good luck,
All
my
right,
man.
man.
Keep it going. I love you every day. Let's go.
I appreciate y'all, man. I love you guys. Y'all take care.
Love you too, brother. Hey, stick right with us, because when we get back, we're going to do our 2-minute drill. Welcome back into Come Get Some. And this is a new segment of ours called our 3 and Out with Booms. Booms, tell us what you got for us in 3 and Out.
I'll tell you why I came up with 3 and Out for you guys, because I have the privilege of sitting between two brilliant coaches. And I'm like, then they've got to be tested. And, if it goes like I think, we may have overtime.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. But
Okay.
right now it's 3 and Out.
Okay.
Coach, you're up first. this came up because of the down, down, down with the guy who slid on his butt and all that. I want to know your instant gut reaction to these, both you guys. Now it's being talked about that it should be outlawed and not allowed because what's happening is with a player falling down and gambling going on in the stadiums and everywhere around the country, it turns out him falling on his butt had he just ran in, would have covered the over for a big part of the country. Should sports gambling or any of this have any effect on whether a player does something smart?
Zero. Gamble this. I don't want to hear any BS about that type of stuff. It's about us winning the game, us protecting our players, getting ready to win the next game. So gamble this, whoever's complaining.
I knew that would be good. I just got chills for that. Blake gave you a smile like, that's Dad. All right, here we go. Coach Blake, you're up. How surprised are you? Because I know you're both Baker lovers, me too. How surprised are you, Coach, about the Buccaneers getting blown out at home?
You know, we haven't watched the game yet because we were watching the Browns game while it was going on, so we haven't got a chance to watch the game and see exactly what happened. And so I can't fully speak to that. It was surprising just to see the scores and how it was coming out and whatnot. Not necessarily surprising like the team that did it and kind of, you know, the respect that we have for them as well too. But that it was
Broncos.
that it was an off day, you know, definitely, you know, for Tampa Bay, and it was in Tampa Bay. And so there's a lot of knowledge though between Sean Payton and that coaching staff, the two coaching staffs, you know, and whatnot, and schematically and everything. And obviously they had their good day from that standpoint and did some things I watched Sean Payton do for Bo Nix finally.
I saw
where he not dumbed it down, but he regressed. He said, okay, I've been throwing out there and seeing what sticks these last couple of weeks, and now we're going to scale it back and really do what we know and see he can do. But I still feel that like in that division down there, it's a two-team race, you know, between the Saints and the Buccaneers on a 17-game season. I think the Bucs will bounce back, but it did surprise me seeing the score.
Me too. I was shocked. Excellent. Thank you, Coach. Back to you. More impressed with, because Blake and I always show up early going, geez, I hope he's impressed with us today. What are you more?
Yeah.
We're always like, I hope he's impressed.
I stopped that when I was about 10 years old. When I was like,
I'm never stopping it.
I finally realized I couldn't impress him, and the better I did, the more he was gonna push me to keep getting better. So I was like, F that.
All right, here we go. More impressed with, Coach? Steelers 3-0 because of that defense. Vikings 3-0 because of their defense.
Well, I would say, you know, you're talking defense right now, and the Steelers have had it all the time, and I think the world of Mike Tomlin. But I'm very impressed with what Brian Flores is doing with the Vikings defense. So I'm going Vikings and Brian Flores.
Nice, and that's a great subject. All right, we're going to overtime. It's been too good. These are quickies. Coach Blake, quickies. I'm coming right to you. I'm just gonna let that sit there. That's a good one, and I'm just not gonna step on it.
Timing.
As a trained comedian, Coach, I will not step on a good line. All right, Coach, here we go, Coach Blake. Is Bryce Young's days in Carolina, is he done?
Well, I mean, we would all think so. But then we hear words out there that they've already turned down 4 trade offers for him. So I don't know. I mean, like when Andy Dalton went out and did what he did right there, like he already just devalued, you know, so it just seems to one more time of them not understanding trade value. He should be done. And I think unfortunately, like he's going to be done, and Carolina's not going to get anything in return, you know, for it, which is going to be very Carolina-ish.
Yeah. Let's hope that they do. I think I might want to slide this to Blake when I ask Coach this question. I think we could all be in trouble, right?
Protect it.
Coach, what the hell is Zimmer doing in Dallas with that defense?
Well, right now, I will tell you this. There's some things going on that they're not all on the same page, and there's some things going on down there that you have to battle all the time at the Cowboys is that somebody else thinks they know more than you. And Mike's a hard-nosed guy.
Yes.
But I am shocked to see the lack of tackling And I'm shocked to see the mental errors, what I'm seeing, because
Yeah.
that's not typical with the Mike Zimmer defense.
It never has been. That's a great point. Coach Blake, we're going to end with you. All right. Are the Seahawks for real? And are they the best 3-0 team in the NFC?
They are for real. The Seahawks are for real. I have a lot of great friends that are coaches on that staff. It's a young staff, but so many of them are there like for the last probably 4 or 5 years. We're like, hey, if GDubb, if you take this head coaching job, there's probably 6 or 7 of them that would have been guys that would be the guys that
been on our staff. Been on our staff.
I really believe in them. But the best 3-0 team I think in the NFC is Minnesota.
Wow.
Is Minnesota. They're
I have to agree with you. I have to agree with you on that. Yep.
Guys, that was fantastic. Coach, that's what 3 and Out's all about. Plus, we went to overtime, and it was still great.
It was still great. And we got I feel like we got the victory. Now we got to get a victory with the
I don't
with
like
the
you
Browns.
took my bat away.
Yeah, we were. Hey, know the audience. Know the audience. Work the room. But hey, stick right with us because when we get finished, all right, we're going to go into our 2-minute drill right here. Welcome back into Come Get Some, and this is our 2-minute drill, and GDubb and I and Big Play have a big announcement. Starting this Thursday and going for the rest of the season, we are going to start Big Play and Barley House and Grotto themed Thursday night football watch parties. Join us this Thursday at the Grotto at the Barley House in downtown Cleveland for an exclusive experience from 7:15 p.m. Eastern to the end of the game. It's going to be the Giants versus Cowboys, who we've gotten to see up here in Cleveland.
We have a lot of knowledge.
So like we were talking about out there, if you need a therapy session, Midwest Cleveland style, hey, come
I'm
up.
a doctor.
Yeah, come up, have a cigar, have some drinks, talk ball with us, ask what the F is going on in Cleveland, but come out, hang out with GDubb and I. You'll get a koozie or some Big Play merch. You'll get an autograph picture from GDubb / get a chance to spend the evening with us. Come out to Barley House and the Grotto this Thursday night, and we'll see you there. Hey, GDubb, send us out like you do.
And bring this. Ready, break.
Come get some!